programs since spring commencement 2017. We are so pleased you're here today to celebrate this milestone for these students who have worked so hard for a long time to earn their degrees. This is their day, and we want to make it as pleasant as possible for them and for you. With that in mind, please note pages 1 and 2 in your programs where we have included a few guidelines to help make this occasion more enjoyable for everyone. At the conclusion of this commencement exercise, we invite you to join faculty and staff in the Taylor Center 223 for a celebration reception to honor the graduates. The reception is marked on the map in your program, or you may follow the signs or ask a volunteer for assistance. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Good afternoon. My name is Carl Stockton. I'm a student at Auburn University at Montgomery. Welcome to our May 2017 commencement ceremony. As I introduce the day's party, I ask that each member please stand as his or her name is called, and that the audience please hold your applause until all have been introduced. The President of our Faculty Senate, Dr. Pia Carnegie. The Director of University Honors Program, Dr. Matt Jordan. Our University Registrar, Ms. Holly Benson. Today's Enunciator, Dr. Glenn Ray. The Chancellor Scholar from the College of Public Policy and Justice, Victoria Byrne. Our Vice President of our Alumni Association, Ms. Anna Marie Jones. The Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Science, Dr. Jean Lunar. The Dean of the College of Public Policy and Justice, Dr. Kayvon Garabi. The Dean of the College of Business, Dr. Ray Ingram. Our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Dr. Jan Lin. Our Vice Chancellor for Advancement, Ms. Carolyn Golden. Our Associate Provost for Undergraduate Education, Dr. Joy Clark. And our distinguished speaker this afternoon, and I'm excited that he's able to join us, General John Hyde. At the heart of any institution is its faculty. These distinguished men and women have devoted themselves to the development of our students. No one knows better than you, our students, the knowledge, wisdom, and inspiration to be gained by our faculty. As your professors, they become your mentors. As May 2017 candidates for graduation at Auburn University at Montgomery, you now receive their invitation to a new kind of relationship. This is the fellowship created by the awareness of mutual achievement, and this ceremony is a formal acknowledgement of that special bond. Would the faculty present please rise? Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the Auburn University at Montgomery faculty. Thank you. Will faculty please be seated? Diversity of people and perspective with a culture of inclusiveness is one of Auburn University's 7 core values. Our commitment to diversity brings value to the lives of our students, for whom it makes a college education accessible, and for whom it enriches the college experience by broadening their ability to see the world through the eyes of others from different backgrounds and different perspectives. It is a privilege today to honor that commitment to AUM's core values of diversity and inclusiveness with the presence of our colleagues from China, Hubei University of Economics. Please stand when I call your name so we can welcome each of you. The Vice President, Xiong Fu Wu. Dean and the Chair of the College of Business Administration, Hong Wang. Deputy Dean of the College of Information Management and Statistics, Hua Wang. Dean of the College of Economics and Environmental Resources, Cheng Tian Nia. And the Director of International Cooperation and Exchange, Hong Wang. Thank you for your continued cooperation with us to provide opportunities for the exchange of cultures and perspectives between our 2 universities and our 2 countries. Thank you. Now I invite Dr. Pia Carnegie, Assistant Professor of Political Science and Public Administration, and also the President of the Faculty Senate at Auburn University of Montgomery, to come to the podium and bring greetings on behalf of the faculty. Dr. Carnegie.
Dr. Stockton. Graduates, you finally have done it, and you've done it well. On behalf met each of you today. As faculty, we challenged you along the way, and sometimes we may have annoyed you a little bit, but we did all this so that you would be here today. I can speak on behalf of my colleagues and say we're so very proud of each and every one of you. Congratulations. And please know that the faculty of Auburn University at Montgomery will always be here to support you. And please do keep in touch with us as we want to know your successes. Again, congratulations and best wishes from the faculty.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker today, General John Hyten. A native of Huntsville and a graduate of Grissom High School, he was on an Air Force ROTC scholarship. General Hyten earned his undergraduate degree from Harvard University. General Hyten has served 36 years in the United States Air Force and currently serves as the commander of the United States Strategic Command, one of the 9 warfighting combatant commands in our military. As the commander of the U.S. STRATCOM, General Hyten leads 184,000 service members and civilians from all branches of the military, including soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and so forth, whose job every day is to deter a strategic attack against the United States and our allies. General Hyten executes this critical mission for our nation by employing nuclear, space, cyberspace, global strike, and missile defense forces around the world. Prior to assuming his tremendous responsibility, his exceptional career has been primarily focused on space, including assignments as the commander of Air Force Space Command, director of Space Forces for Operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom, commander of both the 50th Space Wing and the 595th Space Group, and numerous assignments to the Pentagon, working on the Air Staff and Joint Staff. This is quite an impressive resume. In fact, we'd be here all day if I shared his entire resume with you. Very impressive. And on behalf of this university, I'm humbled to tell you what he includes in the top of his long list of accomplishments. You see, he received his Master's of Business Administration right here at Auburn University at Montgomery. After receiving his bachelor's degree from Harvard in 1981, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant with his first assignment to Gunter Air Force Base. While he was at home here in Alabama, he completed his MBA at AUM in 1985 and was recognized last night as one of the top 50 at 50 alumni. It's an honor to have General Hyten join us today as our commencement speaker, and I appreciate him taking his busy time to come here and be with us. So it is my honor to give him a big, warm Warhawk welcome.
How y'all doing? You guys better be doing pretty good. This is a pretty big day for you guys, so congratulations from the start. It's just great to be back on the island. It's always good to be on the island. So, I started here as a second lieutenant, right down the road. Came here, go to school as a second lieutenant, and my first real commander was a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Jim McKeown. I said, Libby, you were going to sit right up there. So Libby, stand up now so Laura can see you, because Laura didn't see her. Hey, Libby, how are you? Well, thanks for letting me do that. I just embarrassed the heck out of her. I have the microphone, so what the heck. Chancellor, thank you very much for the invite to be here today. Thank you for everything. Thank you to the trustees, to the members of the faculty, the administration, the parents, the friends, the family, our guests. Every one of you somehow has invested your time, talent, efforts in building the lives of these amazing graduates. And I'm confident a lot of their success is because of the direct support that you've given them. So thank you very much, especially to the friends and family. Thank you to the gentleman that played that national anthem. Holy cow. Was that a spectacular national anthem? I got to hear it twice today, so I've got goosebumps in the national anthem twice. That's a special part of this day. So let's give him a round of applause. joined the Air Force through ROTC 40 years ago this month. And I'll tell you what, it seems like just yesterday in so many ways. But to the cadets, to the folks in Army ROTC, thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you're going to do. And it's an honor to be here today. So before I forget, there's a few fundamental truths about all commencement ceremonies. First, it is a day to celebrate, congratulate, give thanks, remember, and enjoy. Second, a very short time from now, very few of you in attendance today will remember who the heck your commencement speaker even was. And finally, an even shorter time from now, nobody here will remember anything I had to say. So with that in mind, congratulations, class of 2017. Congratulations to your achievement. I know we're here to celebrate your graduation, but while this may be a conclusion to one phase of your life, one phase of your studies, it really marks the commencement of a really exciting ride. Many of you may be feeling uncertain or apprehensive, but more than anything, you should be thrilled about the beginning of the next chapter of your journey. I hope each of you finds a career and a calling that you love. I certainly did, but I can tell you the way my life turned out was not the plan. I'll tell you there are a few things that all generals and admirals have in common. First of all, we're all circling the drain. We're old. We're approaching the end of our careers. But most importantly, we always will be. We wish we could go back and do it all again. Because you are about to start the greatest adventure that anybody can be given, and that's a life. So enjoy your life. Many of you are going to change careers and goals and ambitions, and you'll probably be surprised where you find yourself 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. But if you show up, you honor your commitments, and you say yes to opportunity as it comes your way, even if it's something you weren't looking for or didn't expect, you will have an amazing life ahead of you. Like many of you in this audience, I was the first in my family to graduate from college. Like every one of you in this class, I earned a degree from this university. I came on active duty in 1981, and all I wanted to do was see the world. So naturally, my first assignment was home to Alabama. That's okay, I love Alabama. And I was only going to be in the Air Force 4 years anyway. So I figured I'd adjust my plan and I'd get an MBA here at AUM. And that way, when I left the Air Force in 1985, I could combine my engineering degree from Harvard with an MBA. It would make me more attractive to the aerospace industry because my real goal was to get into the space business. And the reason I wanted to get into the space business so badly is because that was my dream. When I was 6 years old in 1965, my family moved to Alabama. My dad came to Huntsville to help work on the Apollo program. He got to work on and test the Saturn V main engine, the greatest rocket engine ever built by man. I got to watch the test a few times. And every time there was a test, all of Huntsville would shake right to its core. Dishes would go bouncing off the countertop in the kitchen. Pictures would fall off the wall. And nobody ever complained. Because we all knew we were building a rocket that was going to the moon. And that was just the price we had to pay. And then because I had some spectacular teachers, and because I was good at math and science, my 5th grade teacher selected me to attend the ribbon-cutting ceremony in August of 1969 for 3 new schools, 2 of which I get to attend. Chaffee Elementary School, Ed White Junior High School, and Grissom High School. Each named after one of the astronauts who died in the tragedy of Apollo 1 in January of '67. And the man cutting the ribbon that day was Vern von Braun. And I got to meet him. And I got to meet some of the astronauts. And it became my dream to become an astronaut. But unfortunately, I'm basically blind. I have 2900 vision, which means without my glasses, I can't see anybody. I can't see anything. It's just all a blur and all colors. So I can't see the script either, so I'll put that back on. But NASA, for whatever reason, I don't understand to this day, did not recruit blind astronauts. And you'd think that'd be a problem with the Air Force, too. Which takes me back to the beginning. Because the primary reason I joined the Air Force was to pay for college. I got into Harvard, which was a miracle in itself, but I couldn't afford to pay for it. But my high school counselor, Miss Mary Louise Johnson, told me that if I got an ROTC scholarship, it would pay for everything. Back in the 70s, if you got an ROTC scholarship, it paid for everything. Tuition, books, fees, and $100 a month spending. It doesn't get any better than that. But there was a few problems with that plan. First, Harvard didn't take ROTC in 1976 when I was flying. They kicked it off campus during the riots in Vietnam. And if you remember 1976 in your history books, that was 1 year after the fall of Saigon. But Ms. Johnson, my parents worked it out so Harvard would let me take the scholarship, allow me to cross-enroll at MIT for ROTC and attend college at Harvard. So all I had to do was pass the physical, which was the big problem because, like I said, I'm blind. So I took my physical and I flunked it because you have to have 2400 vision to enter the Air Force in 2020 if you want to fly, and I was not even close. But my eye doctor happened to be a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force Reserve, Dr. Wilson, and he told me I shouldn't give up. He said he thought he could get me a waiver, which he did. But looking back now, I realize if you wanted to join the military in 1976, 1 year after the fall of Saigon, as long as you weren't attached to an iron lung, the Air Force would take you. But I'm so thankful to Dr. Wilson, not just for the waiver, but for the encouragement he gave me, because it would have been easy to give up after flunking my physical. But he wouldn't let me. And by the way, I was only going to be in the Air Force 4 years anyway. And that was more than 40 years ago now. And I'm still here, still doing what I love, because during my time in Montgomery, right from the outset of my career, I began to fall in love with the Air Force. I had chiefs and captains and lieutenant colonels that taught me to love the Air Force, just the way I fall in love with space as a kid. And when my boss found a way for me to work in the space business and stay in the Air Force at the same time, it was the first of so many opportunities that I could have never imagined. So when I came into the space business, I became involved in an enterprise that has fundamentally changed warfare forever. But not just warfare, it's changed every one of your lives as well. Military space is embedded in every one of your lives today. From your cell phone, to the wireless transactions that you do, to the ATMs that you use to get money, to the gas pumps at the gas station, to your navigation apps on your phone, all enabled by a system called the Global Positioning System, GPS, operated by the United States Air Force. But space also created an environment where information became the key to the battle space. And by leveraging the space domain, we've given ourselves an advantage of every fight we've been in. No member of the United States military should ever again have to worry about what's over the next hill or where help is coming from. They should always be able to communicate with whoever they need. All of these capabilities are enabled by space. Precision on the battlefield comes from space. Exquisite global intelligence comes from space. Warning of attack comes from space. A war is a horrible thing, but it's no longer fought simply by attrition. It is fought with information dominance. It's facilitated by networks originating in space. And that's pretty amazing. I got to be a part of that whole history. But because space has become so valuable, it's also become a potential vulnerability. An environment where other nations compete for dominance. But at the same time, space is a domain where people look up and still dream. And as U.S. Stratcom's responsibility to keep it that way, to keep the space environment peaceful and accessible, so that future generations of Americans and Koreans and Russians and Chinese can look up into space and dream, just like I do. And I've been so lucky to be part of that mission. So let me tell you a little bit about my current command in Omaha. Our motto dates back to the Strategic Air Command. It's still our motto today. That's peace is our profession and applies to all our missions. As commander of the U.S. Stratcom, I'm responsible for integrating the United States nuclear, space, cyberspace, global strike, electronic warfare, missile defense, and intelligence capabilities. 7 distinct missions, all with one common priority to provide strategic deterrence for the nation, or, in more simple words, to prevent war by being prepared to fight it. We've been so successful in this mission, I bet very few in this audience have thought really about the strategic threat to the United States. I remember, as a kid in Huntsville, looking up at the sky and wondering if that might be the day that Russian bombers flew overhead to deliver an atomic weapon. I did duck and cover drills when I was in elementary school, but I bet you few of you in this audience have ever done a duck and cover drill in school. Well, I never even thought about it, and that's what victory looks like. And for the past 70 years, strategic deterrence has enabled the world free of major power conflict. There are those who say to me, don't you wish we lived in a world without nuclear weapons? And while I wish we didn't have to worry about nuclear weapons, I can honestly say I really don't want to live in a world without them, because I know what that world looks like. If the world prior to August of 1945, and I don't think it's a world any of us ever want to live in again. Because during the 6 years prior to World War II, from 1939 to 1945, when we did not have a strategic deterrent, the world lost, the world killed between 60 and 80 million people. That's about 1 million souls a month. 33,000 people a day killed in World War II. And as bad as the world is since then, we've never come close to violence on that scale. And it's our nation's job to make sure it never happens again. When we look at our difficult experience in Vietnam, I know there's Vietnam veterans in this room. We lost 58,000 Americans in that conflict. 58,000 of our sons and daughters. Each a terrible tragedy, but in total, less than 2 days of death in World War II. Some will argue it's because the cooperation among nations has evolved, that we're better at resolving international conflict. But I'd argue that it's because in 1949 we proved the devastation of an atomic bomb and the consequences of nuclear weapons became unacceptable. And it's U.S. STRATCOM that still underwrites our nation's security and preserves that peace every single day. And I get to be part of that too. But the other day, I came across my career plan that my bosses, one of them from here, made me write when I was a second lieutenant here in Montgomery. And so to be clear to all the students here, all the graduates here, I'm O for everything. My whole plan was to be in the Air Force 4 years because they paid for college and then get out and seek my fortune. Clearly that did not happen. Then to travel and see the world thing? Nope. Then get in the aerospace industry as an engineer? Nope. Then the Air Force plan I came up with, which was I forced to build by those people that made me build it, assumed a 20-year career, which was nuts, ending with me as a lieutenant colonel program manager in the acquisition business. Nope. So there's no way a blind kid from Alabama can grow up in the Air Force and be a general. It's impossible. 1 star is impossible. 4 stars is insane. When I joined the Air Force, there was no such thing as Space Command. And I grew up to be the commander of Air Force Space Command. It's impossible, but it happened. Further, there's no way I should be the commander of the Air Strategic Command. It's not only the most powerful command in the United States military, it's the command of Air Force legend. It's the command of George King and Curtis LeMay. It's impossible, but it happened. And you never know. Similar things, impossible things, can happen to you. Because life never goes according to plan. And I'm here to tell you that that's a wonderful thing. Because that's what makes it such an amazing ride. A plan is important because it gives you goals to work toward, but it's also true that if you plan early, you better plan often. Because it just never turns out the way you think. You should definitely have a plan, but you have to be prepared and excited for what comes at you up left field. To prove to you the remarkable things you can accomplish, I want to leave you with a few examples of the men and women I get to work with every day. Would you have guessed that our entire GPS constellation today, the GPS constellation that drives your phone, that drives our financial system, that drives our military, is operated today by 7 airmen, average age 23, at Schriever Air Force Base in Colorado. Literally, everything that GPS does for the world comes out of those 7 airmen in Operation 7 in Colorado. The commander, 25 years old, just out of college. 2 satellite system operators that actually operate the satellites, 19 years old, both 1 year out of high school. That's pretty remarkable. They have an unbelievable responsibility, and they're performing an invaluable mission for their country. And for each one of us who uses GPS every day, those are just 7 of 130,000. I want to share you the story of another young airman, a senior airman, 3-striper, in Washington State, not much older than you. I saw him drive up. So I pulled up to this unit at Joint Base Whiskey Floor. I pulled up in my fantastic Ford Fusion Hybrid staff car. And right next to me pulls up a Tesla S. Have you ever seen a Tesla S? Oh my gosh. It is just unbelievable. And out of that Tesla S jumps a senior airman, 3 stripes. And he goes running in the building because he's late. Now how the heck does a senior airman start driving a Tesla S? So I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on in this unit. But as it turns out, that unit is right outside Seattle, Washington. That airman happens to be also on his day job, the chief of cybersecurity for Microsoft. And his boss, a young captain, works cybersecurity for Amazon Web Services. And the group weekends, they like to get together and go work for the National Guard, put on the uniform, and join Ways Lewis Award for what is essentially pocket change for them because they thought it was really exciting and they wanted to do great things for their country. And they do that every day. So that's just so amazing. So last but not least, because I just described 10 of 184,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that man our strategic capabilities all across the world so we can celebrate here today. 184,000 people involved in the STRATCOM enterprise worldwide, standing guard, 24/7, 365, from underwater to outer space. They're in Greenland, watching for incoming ICBM 600 miles from the North Pole. They're in North Dakota, sitting in missile silos. They're under the ocean beside nuclear-capable submarines. And they may have the least glamorous, most important mission in the entire military. And they volunteered to do it, so the rest of us don't have to worry about nuclear threats against us. Their skill and service are just remarkable. So graduates, each one of you is capable of so much more than you can even imagine. I want you to treat every opportunity that faces you with energy and enthusiasm. Have a plan,